Here.
Alderman Messina,
Here.
Alderman Sismarski,
Here.
Alderman Woods.
Here. I declare a quorum. Next, approval of the minutes of the February 9th, 2023 Planning, Zoning, Building Committee. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Second. Any questions, corrections, changes? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, report and recommendation. Special use for parking lot and zoning variations for Sweet Baby Ray's at 227 East Irving Park Road. Director Springer, take it away.
Thank you, Chairman Woods. The request that we have before you this evening is an application that was filed by Deuce Raymond, and he's representing SBR Events Group. And what he's asking for this evening is a special use for a parking lot and zoning variations related to lot area and the transition of the parking lot, the distance to the street, for the property at 227 East Irving Park. Mr. Raymond is here this evening, and he is also accompanied by his architect, Mario Valentini, I'm sorry. So the property, as you can see, is outlined in yellow, says subject property, and it's located at the intersection of Cedar and Irving Park Road. The property along the entire block, from Cedar all the way to Maple in this area, is all under common ownership, and it's all owned by SBR. So this highlights a little bit clearer what's on the property. Right now, the subject property, which is located at 227 East Irving Park Road, is a vacant parcel. There was previously a home on the property, but it has been demolished. The property, the building at 235 is where the catering operations are handled for Sweet Baby Ray's, and 249 is where the building is for their restaurant. There are, like I mentioned, 7 parcels under common ownership, and according to the zoning ordinance, as long as property is within a single block and owned by the same entity, it can be used as, it can be considered a zoning lot as long as it's operated as a whole on that property that's all owned by the same owner. The zoning for the property is TCB, Town Center Business, as are the rest of the remaining properties within the zoning law and all the other properties really on either side facing Irving Park Road. This is what the existing conditions of the site right now. As you can see, it just has a little bit of landscaping on it, and it's all open space and grass. So what the petitioner is proposing is the addition of a parking lot which would accommodate 19 parking spaces. They are also proposing new site and perimeter landscaping, and there will be required stormwater retention on the site, and that's going to be, that's going to be proposed in this area, but they will prepare the engineering plans for that at time of building permit, and they'll just be required to meet all of the stormwater engineering requirements. The parking lot will have one access off of Cedar Avenue, and it does meet all the landscaping requirements per the UDO. So what is required in order to conform with the UDO for this proposal is the approval of a special use. So a special use is required because it is on a separate parcel or parcels or lots from the remainder of the block. And if you want to put a standalone parking lot on a property, you have to get a special use for that. So Mr. Raymond is requesting a special use. Also, he and his architect did work very hard to eliminate any zoning variations, but there are 2 that they are requesting that they could not avoid, and that was the street transition. So there is a requirement from the edge of the property line to have a 30-foot setback from where parking stalls begin. Now, he does show here that they have 30 feet from the actual curb or the street itself. However, what's actually required is 30 feet from this point. So what's happening is they want to reduce it down to 2.5 feet, which is a dimension that's taken right here. So the property line, the parking stalls are only 2.5 feet from the property line rather than the 30 feet that's required. Now that transition distance is necessary in order to allow the stacking of vehicles into the site without disrupting circulation in the parking lot. For the most part, it's accommodated with the longer right-of-way we have here, the parkway. The other is the minimum lot area. The lot area is only 13,900 square feet, but that's an existing condition. The zoning code or the UDO does require the lot area to be 20,000 square feet, but when it's considered in conjunction with the other parcels, the other 5 parcels, the zoning lot itself does exceed the minimum lot area of 20,000 square feet. So we did not receive any public comments for this proposal, and the CDC held a public hearing on March 20th. At that meeting, the vote was, there was only 5 members in attendance, and the vote was 3 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So the way it works for variations is you're not allowed to have the majority of those present. It's the majority of the number of positions or number of members of the board. So it has to be 4 votes. It can't be 3. Sometimes an abstention counts with the majority, but in this case, the way our code reads, and actually the way statute reads for zoning approvals, is that you have to have 4 concurring votes. So abstention doesn't concur with yes, so it doesn't go with the majority. So what happens is the recommendation for approval failed, which results in a recommendation for denial. So because of that, it's coming before you as a recommendation for denial from the CDC, and that, of course, requires a 2/3 vote of the aldermen in order to override that negative recommendation. That is all of the slides that I have, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Alderman Sismarski.
And the applicant is here. I thought I heard in prior meetings we're looking for a place in the industrial park in the future, bigger. Is that?
It's possible to look for a bigger building.
You have to go to the microphone.
This is a 2-part question. So
That's good. So we have considered going to another spot. After considering cost for moving, building, expanding and everything, yeah, we believe it's in our best interest to stay where we're at, and we really want to stay where we're at. This will allow us to do that. So we feel like this is also good for the community. A lot of our employees have to park on the street. This will take cars off the street, put them in our lot. It'll make the appearance of the building much cleaner because the trucks will be able to stack nice and organized instead of all over the place. So I really feel this is a win-win-win, win for the city, win for the community, and win for our business as well.
this second part, you already answered. I said my daughter worked for you. I know they all park on the streets everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I receive some calls parking in the street. So this is a private parking lot just for your employees and for people coming in for tastings.
Exactly, correct, yeah. People that come in for tastings, overflow parking for our company vehicles and our employees. And we also, just so you guys know, we rent part of the lot at Tom's Axe. We'll continue to do that to keep as many cars off the street as possible.
Mayor, please.
Yeah, few questions. So, about 14 years ago, I believe it was probably your uncle, Ray, I think,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So, at that time, we had heard about expansion, and you guys had 2 signs, and you were only supposed to have 1, but the council at that time, and I believe I'm the only one left here from that meeting, we let it go because there was an expansion coming, we wanted to help the businesses out and whatnot. And now we have another addition of parking, and I hear expansions, but there's no expansion.
Well, there's expansion with dollars incoming to the business and incoming to the community. 14 years ago, we were a 1.5 million business. At the end of this year, we should be over $8 million. So that brings a lot of tax dollars to the community.
And you can still function, because I know, I remember talking to you once, and you were talking about expanding because you need more room for the catering, and I believe staff even mentioned, if you move into the industrial park, your catering, there was some TIF money, but it sounds like you went through all that and the numbers just don't work.
Yeah, it seemed a lot, I mean, things are working well for us now, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm not saying not in the future, we might not look at something, but things are really going well for us now, and I want to continue that path. We had a lot of hard time especially around 2008, like a lot of businesses did. We almost had to shut down. We almost had to shut down after COVID, and right now, things are going very good, and I want to continue that path, the way we're doing it. And this, to me, I'm sorry, but it seems like a very small ask to build 20 parking spots on our own property. That's all we're asking to do. It's our own property. And it's a very, in my mind, small ask to continue to grow our business, bring dollars into the community, supply hundreds of jobs throughout the summer to a lot of people. You know, we're really trying to do our best, and I don't feel like we're asking that much.
I'm not saying, can I continue?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not saying it's a big ask, and getting the cars off the street is nice. I was just looking for the expansion of even the restaurant. I heard you're gonna, at one time, it's gonna be a bigger patio. Now, we're talking 14 years ago, so
Yeah.
this is, a long time ago. And never seen it, and I'm just, what happens, maybe a question for staff, what happens if he decides he doesn't need the parking? Can he just sell that parking lot and leave it as a parking lot, or, I'm curious.
The way the proposal is right now, yes. It's similar to, there's a number of businesses that front on Irving Park Road that have multiple lots. Anybody could sell off one of those lots. Whether they can do anything with it, in some of the other instances is questionable, but in this case, yes, he could sell it off for use as a parking lot by anybody.
Right, because this wasn't consolidated, right? And
Correct.
that's- And also, so I drove by this past week, and I saw that your dumpsters don't have an enclosure. We have a policy for dumpster enclosures. I'm not sure why that wasn't taken care of.
Alderman Messina.
Yeah, I think you guys have done some good things, right? Demolishing that house was a good step. I'm still disappointed in the facade of the building, My parents live pretty close to the Elk Grove location you guys sold, and, me, it's the little, I'm offended. I mean, you guys live in Wooddale, and, that investment there, that building is night and day to what the investment is here, right? So, parking spots are great. I don't think it brings additional revenue, personally. I think the revenue is gonna come regardless. I don't think making it more convenient for employees to park is gonna, there's no correlation of places to park equals additional revenue. I don't see that unless you guys made an investment in your building, your restaurant. That's probably the biggest complaint I get from folks is it's real hard real hard to just go in the restaurant. Even
Real hard to park there?
Well, I just pull up. I mean, you guys catered my kid's birthday party, all right? So the catering, I had to go, they had to come across the parking lot to do that, and I had to carry all that food. That's what I had to do, right? It is what it is, right? For me, it's are you better suited in an industrial park for that part of the business? I'm not saying this is a bad proposal. I'm saying I'm a little disappointed because, like the mayor, for at least the last 3 years, I was under the impression that you guys were taking advantage of our facade program.
I asked twice and got denied twice on that, just so you know.
Okay, it never came to us, the facade program. Can you guys verify that, Stacy? Because
It did, according to the records that I've seen, they did file a facade improvement, for a facade improvement grant back in 2015. It did go before that group. The group did not, the committee at that time did not feel they had enough information in order to make a recommendation for it to come to committee. And so they requested some things from the petitioner, and that's where the record stops. So my understanding is it never went any further. They never revised the plans and brought them back, and therefore it never came before the council.
would you,
Follow? Go ahead.
would you guys be open to reapplying for something to the existing catering business so that, you know, I'm looking at particulars, right? But like simple things, even like, and I'm speaking maybe out of term, but like the basic aesthetics of like continuity in the paint color, right? Just things that make it blend that, so it doesn't stick out as much, meaning your catering building. To me, that's an investment, a minimal investment, and then obviously you can get some of that money back through the program. But just putting in parking spaces, to me, doesn't help me aesthetically. You know, helps you guys, just doesn't. Right. And that's fair. Yeah, and that's fair. And that's fair. It's just, I was hoping for a bigger investment in part of the building, especially being what you sold the building in Elk Grove for. So I'm done.
Just so you know, that's a completely separate business, has nothing to do with this business. It shares a name and that's it.
It's not owned by the same ownership group?
My uncle was 50% partner with that person.
Same ownership group, though?
It's
Is
a
it,
totally different ownership. I'm partners with my uncle in this business, he was partners with Mike O'Brien in that business.
okay, so it's not part of the, what is it, it's not part of that group?
No.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll touch on a couple things. One, they did apply years back. I didn't remember
Yeah, I got that.
2015, but if you tell me that's what the record says.
Oh.
And I think that was the issue, that what they were looking for was the parking lot and some minimal dressing up of the building.
Correct.
Which at the time we looked at it and went, that wasn't enough, you know, to raise the bar, to get us to invest in it, and sent it back to you for reconsideration of maybe changing what you were gonna do.
And my memory may be off, I thought we did and we came back with something and we still got shut down, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest, I'm not sure exactly how that all went
Yeah,
down.
I don't think so, and it does, we're not gonna argue that this
Yeah.
evening or litigate that, but. So the one thing to address is Alderman Sismarski said that corner is terrible to try to get through that alley or down that street with all the cars and stuff that you have coming and going or parked in the alley with deliveries and stuff. This'll help alleviate some of those issues. So while it might not be the development that we would like to have, I think it'll go a long way to clean up that area a little bit. It's not gonna be overly intrusive because you're not fronting it onto Irving, you're set back enough. I'm hoping that that will be kept neater or cleaner than the back alley. And again, because I know that you're stuck in that small area, so I'm not here to pick on you, I'm just saying, pointing out, we would like that not to look like the back looks now, right? The dumpsters and all the other stuff back there. And I think the other thing that I would like to add is that I'd be okay with the approval, but within the approval, we would have some language saying that the parking lot can only be used as an accessory structure to the existing business. So
Meaning?
you're there, it's an accessory structure to your business. If you sell it, it goes with it, it continues, we're not gonna limit it. But just so that you don't turn it into a parking lot to rent out spaces to somebody, so.
Fair
All those
enough.
spaces can be used for your business, and that's what you're looking to do to clean up and make it easier for your employees, and hopefully you expand again, and one day, very soon, you'll come in and wanna dress up the front, or say you're bigger and you wanna move to the industrial park, so. Well, let me just, and then I'll go to you. So I'll make a motion to approve, adding the language that the parking lot is only to be used as an accessory structure to the existing business. You second? Alderman Jacob, you had a question?
Yeah, a couple questions or comments. So I definitely think being able to park in a parking lot versus in the street, because we do have that in our ward where businesses park on the streets and we have residents complain about that, so I think that's great. Plus, right now, I mean, you know, I'd rather see something there and some nice landscaping than just grass. So I think it, you know, although it's not what we really would love over there, I think it'll look much better. It's have some, you know, solve some safety issues for people, you know, turning down the street, and it'll help your employees and your staff as well, so, you know, I would be in favor of it.
Are there any other questions? There being, Alderman Catalano.
I just have one question. As far as the garbage enclosure, is that going to be addressed?
Yeah, this is the first that I've been told that that's an issue, so.
So Director Springer and Manager Murmas are nodding in the affirmative that they'll talk to the owners and get it addressed.
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion, we have a second. Let's roll call.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Ames,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Okay, nice, that passes. So, next items to be considered at future meetings, Marino's relocation, April 27th, and data center Route 83 to be determined. Is there anything anybody else would like to put on? There being none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Public Health Safety Judiciary Committee come to order. Submitted paper reflect that everyone's still here, except for the city manager. Need approval of minutes for January 26, 2023, the Public Health Safety Judiciary and Ethics Committee minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. One recommendation, approval and agreement of the Embassy Security Group for services and equipment for Prairie Fest 2023. That's my motion.
Second.
Chief?
Yeah, the agreement would supplement our existing police department staff for Prairie Fest 2023 in outfitting us with metal detectors, security cameras, and personnel for screening the patrons entering Prairie Fest. Last year, we, for the first time, brought in metal detectors after the Heaven Park incident, and I think it was a big success in securing the event for the city. The issue we ran into is our staffing was heavily focused on screening those patrons, leaving us a little light patrolling the fest, securing the fest grounds themselves in the interior, and assisting in searching for missing children, code Adam type situations. So this year we're looking to supplement the PD staff with the security service staff who is trained in screening patrons for entering these types of events.
And before I take a question, I talked to the chief earlier too, because obviously you've probably all heard some complaints about online, so it's hard to get in. But Chief and I had already talked about trying to expand the Wooddale Road access inside the fence, make it a bigger, we don't call it corral, but a bigger area, so people can come in and wind through instead of standing on both sides of the street or waiting to come in. So he said it wouldn't be a problem. Any questions? Alderman Jacob?
Just one. I know you had said that most of the people that will be working there are former law enforcement or currently law enforcement. I assume the company has some kind of insurance if something were to happen between one of those people and the community, or, you know, somebody coming into the
Yeah,
fest,
my
correct?
understanding is, and we'll confirm, they have their own liability insurance policy, and all of their security staff will be former or retired, retired or current law enforcement off duty.
And Yeah, final question, will we run background checks on those people, or does that company already do that?
We can look into it, but I'm sure they've already done it. They could probably provide us some evidence detailing that.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing as they're in armed service, they're probably on a background check. So, I mean, it's a good question, and Chief and I already talked about it too. Better, some more security, the better. In our house, if you can roam the area instead of manning the gates. Ms. Eno?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say, it's a no-brainer, right? We have manpower shortage. We got 7 staff, according to what the chief said, right, that we would get. And then it allows our folks, our trained police officers to be in the Prairie Fest, and whether that's for safety, but also just to engage with the community. I think that's super, super important. So I'd like, I don't think one's been made, but I'd like,
Yeah, we have one.
yeah, okay. So I would be in favor of moving forward with this.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much a no-brainer. Everybody enjoyed it. We had a really good attendance. We seemed to be pretty
Yep.
secure. All the names?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify too with the motion to include the dollar amount of not to exceed 24,000. It's not in there, just so that we're saying how much the cost is.
Was there a dollar amount sheet?
Yes.
It's, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just not in the
title,
motion.
it's, in the recommendation.
I'll amend that, seconder agree to amend it?
Yes.
Alderman Catalano?
Yeah, what type of communication are we gonna have with the security company, with our officers? How's that gonna work?
We'll have one of our officers right up front with them at both entrances, so we've got constant communication with them, and we'll also look into if we need to outfit them with some of our radios to be on the same channel.
Chief and I talked about that too. I wanted to make sure we had a liaison between, so they could call the command, they'll be able to call the command immediately, but those guys can deal with whatever they need to. Alderman Woods?
I was gonna ask a similar question.
At least one, I said. As long as he's got a radio in the command center, that's all we need. Any
My-
other questions? Take roll call.
Alderman Ames,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Items for future meeting, 18-month cooling off ordinance to be announced. What do you recall, what's that for? Cooling off.
Yeah, that's the ordinance that was enacted in the past, not allowing a current City of Wooddale employee to come back in employment with the city for 18 months.
Anybody else have anything to add to future meeting? None, I'll make the motion for adjournment. All in favor?
I'd
Opposed? Carried.
like to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order. Somebody can do roll call, please. Oh, sorry, same members are present.
Alderman Ames? Just the aye. Roll call?
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm in La La Land here, talking.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes, here, aye.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Great. Up first, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting dated March 23rd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up, report and recommendations. We'll start off with approval of an agreement between the City of Wooddale and Waterwell Solutions LLC in an amount not to exceed $79,725.60.
That's not the right amount.
It's not the right amount.
Look at it. You transposed the number.
Oh, $79,275.60. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. That would be my motion.
Second.
Questions? Mayor?
Alan, So I was looking at, somewhere I believe it said, naturally the wells aren't enough water to, and take care of the whole city, right? But we have 3 wells, is that correct?
We do have 3 emergency backup wells, and their design production would be enough to meet the average daily demand for the city if needed.
Oh, okay. Then I misread it, I'm sorry.
Alderman Catalano?
Yeah, Director, a lot of the residents ask me what the function of that well is. Could you give us a brief explanation? Especially the one on Sarah Drive.
Sure, so the 3 wells that we maintain are emergency backup wells. They would serve the city's water supply in the event that we were to lose our connection, both our connections to DuPage Water Commission. So in the event that we were no longer able to pump Lake Michigan water, we have a source of water on our own to supply the distribution system.
And all this is, as far as contamination and all that, it's all censored and computerized, is that?
Correct. The wells are sampled monthly throughout the warmer months when we're able to flush through them, and they meet all the EPA standards.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, roll call, please.
Alderman Ames,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. Items to be considered at future meetings, stormwater drainage study, April 27th. Senior grass cutting eligibility in the summer. Senior snow program in the summer. Salt purchase, summer. Be here in the summer. Other than that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Oh, you got a question? Go ahead. Did you want to?
And on, for future meetings, can we look at, a lot of our strip sidewalks are starting to heave. I don't know mine personally, but there are other ones in the neighborhood. I know we have the sidewalk repair 50/50, but I'd like for city and Allen to look out to the companies that do the inject,
Jackie?
level it up instead.
Concrete jacking?
Instead of going and ruining people's lawns, putting all that concrete in there and dying, killing the grass, and then not having it work. If it's a good piece of concrete, it's not broke, they can just inject it and lift it back up.
Yep.
Might be cheaper, I don't know. I'd like to go out and see if we can contract somebody or look into it, see what the price is, if it's better.
Sure, we could do a cost comparison with our regular sidewalk replacement program.
Why bust up a good piece of concrete if you're gonna, or if you're gonna pay, put another one in? That's all.
Any other questions? Any other questions or comments? Okay. I'd like to-
We need a second.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Ames,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Currielli,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
I know.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
That was the motion.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
We all agreed to adjourn.
He needs to get back into his own bed.